Sneeko believes a 21-year-old should be able to marry a 15-year-old if everyone consents. Holy.
You think it's 18? It's only 18 in something like 10 states. The rest of it's 6, 17, 16.
I think if anything, you shouldn't be advocating to make it lower.
Actually falls right into Sneeko's trap.
Do you believe that somebody can go through hormone therapy? Can they change their gender if they're a child?
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting.
See, you fell for the trap card, bro.
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting.
Recently, Sneeko and Moist Critical were on Twitter beefing. Apparently, Penguinz0, Moist Critical, whatever you want to call him, said something pretty outlandish and pretty crazy, so we're going to go over and review that.
So last year, we had some major drama between Moist Critical, aka Charlie, and streamer Sneeko.
I'm not going to lie, if you beef with Sneeko, I feel like you're asking to say something wrong. Sneeko seems like the type of dude to really be only trying to say things that are damn near like brand risk related.
Best commentary award is a dude who doesn't believe in anything, who games for 13 hours straight.
Damn.
And so guys, he's in a monogamous relationship.
Okay.
This is his girl.
He posted about Charlie to the point where he eventually had to reply with this tweet: "You pathetic, sensitive, soy little worm. I made fun of you for watching your girlfriend get f***ed by numerous other men, and also insulted you for defending. That's not cancellation. That's just spitting on you for being a pitiful, sad."
Damn. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, cucking is crazy though, bro. You mean to tell me, is this the chair that bro was sitting in and watching it happen?
You wanna watch my clips? Watch my clips. Watch my clips.
What you have there is not clips. These are mags. This is also a mag.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like they're both called clips and mags. I mean, if I called that a clip, bro, you gonna know what I'm talking about, though.
Well, Sneeko has again been trashing Charlie like no other.
Like usual.
Especially over the recent situation with Mr. Beast and his creeper Chris.
Yep,
Sneeko's
the creeper Chris
was that Charlie is a coward for not immediately speaking up about this situation, saying that he is a hypocrite for talking about Dr. Disrespect. Well, Charlie would respond to this on Twitter, and even spend several minutes in his video about the Chris situation, addressing Sneeko's claim that he was ducking this topic.
I feel like that's one thing. If you are a news channel and you report on a lot of stuff, you are extremely pressed to make certain videos about certain topics. Even if you don't know enough about a specific topic, people are gonna be like, oh, what is your opinion on this? What do you think about this? If you don't, you're gonna look incredibly biased. Sucks.
I was always going to make a full breakdown of this because it's bad. It's a horrible situation.
Of course, yep.
So yes, you're right. I do talk about like big trending bad shit like Dr. Disrespect or like Cody Ko most recently.
Yep.
I don't know why people thought I wouldn't talk about this. So I've never been someone to and shy away from a
The reason why is because people have like low-key an anti-trans LGBT agenda that they want to push, and they think that people are being woke by not talking about trans people, whatever. I feel like all predators get dealt with regardless of who they are. People are quick to be like, oh, you're defending him. Maybe it's because he's LGBT. Maybe you're not talking about him because he's LGBT.
He has no problem abandoning his morals and defending blatant brushing it under the rug as long as it means it keeps the Mr. Beast collab alive. For you to make insinuations like that and even claims like that is unhinged, considering you make actual defense arguments constantly.
Well, once again, after this back and forth, the two would have another debate.
My thing is, Mr. Critical, why are you on a debate with a dude who's calling you a EDP defender? To me, bro, that's like not friendly terms, bro. I'm not gonna be talking to a dude who would say something about me like that, knowing it's not true, because you know that person is ready to like throw dirt on your name at any point in time, and they have nothing to lose. We all know Sneeko's image is tarnished to a point where him defending EDPs or PDF files doesn't do much. If you said the same thing though, you're cooked.
Now, just to be completely transparent with you guys, the full debate here was around 90 minutes long, and no, I did not watch the entire thing.
Ain't nobody watching all that.
I just feel like at this point my brain is already rotted enough. Yeah, I just don't think my brain could have taken it.
Yeah, we're not watching that. It's all good. You good?
Let's talk about what Sneeko had to say. As you guys know, he's been riding the anti-age of consent wave for quite some time now.
Whoa. Sneeko believes a 21-year-old should be able to marry a 15-year-old if everyone consents. Holy. I don't think there's anything you can say to justify this, bro.
I don't. Anti-age of consent wave for quite some time now.
It's just because we have a different idea of what it means to be a child, which can be tracked historically. The general principle...
And so Charlie kind of questioned him about his beliefs here, asking him if a 21-year-old should be able to marry a 15-year-old.
Okay.
And you'll never believe what he has to say.
I'm talking about your personal beliefs. Do you think someone in their 20s should be able to marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
I personally wouldn't do it. I don't know many people who would do it. the maturity for people and the teenagers in the West is getting much worse. But there are
We're talking globally. Let's just talk globally. Like, do you think it is okay for, I'm not talking about just you specifically anymore, anyone. Do you think it's okay for anyone in their 20s, an adult, to marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
A 21-year-old, if there was a marriage where the father consented and the daughter...
Sneeko, you still have time to say no, bro. You still have time to say no.
And it was both good on both families and they wanted to do it. Why am I going to get involved? Why should we get the government involved?
And I would think that most people with a rational brain can understand why a 15-year-old is not mentally equipped to handle the decision of getting married to someone in their 20s.
Yep.
Why would I tell them if everybody's consenting, if everybody's okay with it, if the parents are okay with it, if nobody's being harmed, if it's going to be okay, if they're both abiding by...
Can't just say that nobody is being harmed, though. They might not understand they're not being harmed in the moment, but they might be traumatized when they get a little older, bro. Like a 20-year-old, 24-year-old, whatever, is in such a different period of their life. And I don't think I needed to explain that, bro. Like,
they're not hurting each other. Why not?
What is stopping it from being lower than 15? Technically, if they're consenting and blah, 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 and it's lower than 15. See, like, it just becomes arbitrary, bro.
15-year-old just does not have the mental capacity to truly understand what they're doing. And so really, they cannot consent to the marriage.
Exactly.
And I believe that is kind of Charlie's point that he tries to make against Sneeko here, which I think is the right line of thinking. The only problem is Sneeko uses the classic debate tactic of using Charlie's own logic against him, when Charlie would try to make an even possibly more mind-boggling point about a child's ability to choose to transition. But we'll get back to that in a second. I did first want to talk about some of the other comments that Sneeko has made regarding the age of consent.
Like, why does that define the age of consent? I had a debate about this. And I said the age of consent is maturity, is the age of puberty, once the body is mature. Because, bro, I know some people...
Why not the
I went
brain?
through puberty when I was like 17.
Saying that the age of consent should be when somebody goes through puberty is just insane.
Yeah, you're not fully developed right after puberty,
come
bro.
From a creepy place, or it's just an effect of constantly having to play the devil's advocate over and over.
If you know anything about Sneeko, he used to make content when he was younger, a lot younger, and he was like that kid who was known for having wisdom beyond his years. And I feel like as he grew older, he was no longer the kid who had wisdom, bro. That's not what made him special. Being a kid who's wise and is able to say certain things that are like intellectual makes people subscribe, makes people subscribe, makes people enjoy your content, makes people watch you. As time goes on and you're just the same old dude, you're supposed to be wise. So it's not really that special. It's like... How do I put it? It's like one of those like child prodigies who grows up and then just becomes like mid. So now he's just saying outlandish things, trying to be almost too innovative and too intellectual, saying things trying to sound smart, but really he's sounding like a criminal, bro.
While also trying to have the most shocking opinion possible.
Yeah.
That's why the age of consent being strictly exactly on this second 18, this defines maturity. And everyone has to pretend like, yes, that defines maturity. This is the correct age, not 1 second more, not 1 second less. And if anything contradicts it, you're disgusting.
I mean, to me, it's just such a weird hill to choose to die on over and over again. I mean, by his logic, if a girl goes through puberty at the age of 12, which I believe many of them do,
right?
well, she's then prepared to marry, some 25-year-old man. She's
Makes no sense. Makes no sense.
Do so. I mean, by his very same logic, he should have absolutely no problem with what Chris from Mr. Beast just did. As a matter of fact, in his book, Chris could have went out and married that kid that he was talking to through Discord, and he should really have no problem with it, right? As long as the kid started going through puberty.
And the Moist Critical is like, Sneeko, you say that the age of consent is, what do you think it is? I don't know. What do you think it is? Tell me. You think it's 18? It's only 18 in something like 10 states. The rest of it's 17, 16. Around the world, it's 16. A lot of places, 14, 15. So what do you think it is? Is everybody in the world...
I think if anything, you shouldn't be advocating to make it lower. I feel like if anything, we should be advocating to make it higher. And then maybe like in certain tiers, like if you're 15, you can only mess with somebody who's like 17, 18 through 20, I don't know. Why would you be advocating to make it lower? It just makes no sense.
Japan, they just changed it from 13 to 16. Were they before then? What's the consistency?
To me, the blanket age of consent all over the world should probably be 18. Like, at least in this country, that's when you start getting more personal freedoms. That's the age where if you up, the government no longer sees you as a child, and they're going to punish you as an adult. And at that point, you're really just free to make your own decisions and live with the repercussions of your actions.
Yep.
I don't know. To me, it just does not have to get a lot deeper than that.
When I was 18, I feel like I was still a kid, bro.
Actually, it falls right into Sneako's trap.
Do you believe that somebody can go through hormone therapy? Can they change their gender if they're a child?
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting.
See, you fell for the trap card, bro.
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone
he's
is
cooked.
consenting.
I'm not gonna lie, he cooked him. He
Obviously,
cooked him.
guys, what's the point that's about to be made? Sneako's pretty much going to say, well, Charlie, so a kid cannot consent to marrying an adult.
So as long as
Your
everyone...
parents are okay with it and you are okay with it, I think that's totally a familial decision to make, yeah.
Okay.
So they're literally making the exact same stupid arguments
Yeah, this
about
is
two
dumb.
different, very, I guess, controversial topics.
Yep.
So a child can cut their off and take hormone blockers and change their biology forever, but they can't get married?
Oh, that's a decision that now extends beyond the family, because now you're bringing in a different party. So if you have someone that's your age
Wow, you're yapping, bud. Go ahead and start backtracking.
coming in saying, I want to marry that child, I don't think that can happen under any circumstance.
Yeah, but neither thing should happen under any circumstance.
And in that logic, that means that, like, okay, if they're not a part of the family, so, like, let's say a child wanted to marry their older, like, uncle, it's cool.
I mean, listen, guys, I'm all for transitioning once you are an adult.
Yup.
Using your own money, okay? I don't think taxpayers should pay for that type of surgery. But if you want to go and do whatever you want to your own
Yeah,
body,
it's cosmetic,
well,
right?
I'm really
Right?
all for it.
Right?
Because at the end of the day, I am for adults having their own personal freedoms. But should a child be able to make that type of life-altering decision? Absolutely not. Should their
Right.
parents be able to make that type of life-altering decision for their kid? To me, no. Like, if
Yeah.
I take a baby to a tattoo parlor and say, hey, I consent, put a tattoo right across their forehead that says,
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to do
idiot,
that. Yeah,
there's a
yep.
reason that nobody is going to allow you to do
I agree
that.
with this.
Okay,
I
if
agree with
I'm
this.
16 and I personally want to marry this girl, she's beautiful, she's 21 years old, her family wants to do it, my family wants to do it, you're saying I can't do that.
Bro, yes, you're not allowed to do that, bro, because when you're 16, you don't know what the hell you're doing, like you think you do.
The next day I leave it, I'm depressed, I want to cut my penis off. I can go right into the clinic, snip it off, and start taking HRT like Chris Tyson. That's a society that makes sense to you?
It is. I believe
okay.
everyone has I believe everyone has the right to do with their body what they want to do.
Okay.
Next time, first of all, your first mistake is debating with a dude like Sneeko.
I gotta say, this is the biggest L I've probably ever seen Charlie take, and he kind of
Yeah.
just walked right into it. I mean, like I
And
said,
then he
once
stood on it,
someone
bro.
starts using your own logic against you, the debate is pretty much over. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, you know what my point of view is? That neither of those things are okay. The other thing I did want to say is, I do believe that it's actually a lot easier for someone to transition if they want to do that, if they wait until they're an adult. I believe
Right.
if you start taking the hormone blockers too young, and your reproductive organs don't have the right time to develop, there will usually be a lot of complications with the surgery in the future.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but taking hormones drastically affects your development, not only physically, but like mentally, right?
So in theory, it's actually in everyone's best interest, including people who know they want to transition at a very young age, to
To
wait
just wait.
until they are at least
Yep.
18. Either
Okay.
way, after this, Charlie has kind of been getting cooked online. Sneeko has pretty much been begging him to release this debate on his channel. So I am curious to see what he will do from here because, like, as someone who puts his opinion out there online for a living, this was kind of a take that a lot of people seem to disagree with.
Yeah.
So I had actually recorded that video yesterday, and as I was editing it right now, we actually did get some updates on the situation that include Charlie apparently walking his comments back,
Yeah,
and him
see.
also potentially leaving the internet altogether.
Damn.
And now I give a perspective on something that immediately gets misconstrued, and I do recognize a lot of it's my fault. I assumed
Misconstrued, buddy. You walked into a trap.
that Sneeko was talking in hyperbole about a 9-year-old getting their cut off, because I didn't have the assumption that anyone thought that is how transitioning works. Under no circumstances, any legality behind a kid saying, I want to change genders, and then immediately going in and getting their cut off. That doesn't happen. I thought he was just talking in hyperbole.
I mean, I think he was kind of just trying to discuss the idea of a child transitioning in general and if that's okay.
I thought he
Right.
was talking about the overall point of a child transitioning, which
Yes.
is years long process. And you can't even get that fucking surgery legally until you are 18.
But you said it's fine before 18. We know it's illegal.
Yeah, but you can definitely start transitioning and taking these various hormones before you turn 18 years old, especially in some states.
And I guess I should have assumed that he was being literal. And that's on me. But yeah, there's no winning on anything. Sneeko gets away with saying 12 to 15-year-olds can marry adults. I don't think his chat looks anything like the YouTube chat here. He literally multiple times reaffirms that he believes 12 to 15-year-olds can legally, morally, and should marry adults.
The thing is, though, Charlie, I think that Sneako's audience is completely different. Like, bro, Sneako's image is already cooked to a point where he can get away with saying the most crazy things in the world. And you can't, bro. You have millions of people backing you, bro. It's a double standard, and that's just how it is, bro. Some people are allowed to make edgy jokes, and some people aren't. It just depends on how your audience is and the way you brand yourself. But you gotta understand, like, your supporters are not, like, edgy teenagers like Sneako's are. So it's gonna be completely different.
And there is no problems for him. But I said that I think it's okay for a child to transition, to learn about it. It's a process. You don't just go in and immediately get your cut off. That's not how it works.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say that he's even necessarily walking anything back there. I also think that the argument he makes about, like, oh, everyone's acting like what Sneako said is okay is just kind of minute. Like, it's not really relevant.
Yeah.
Because I have seen Sneako obviously catching a lot of backlash over this age of consent thing for quite some time.
Yep.
And it's pretty obvious at this point that he's kind of cultivated the type of audience that's going to ride with whatever the he thinks.
Exactly.
So I'm not surprised that they're not, like, giving him backlash over those comments. That's what he has been preaching for quite a long time. Either way, this news gets a little bit spicier after it was announced earlier today that Charlie is apparently going to be stepping away from his podcast.
Damn.
Show update. Goodbye, Charlie. Hey everyone, effective immediately, Charlie has made the decision to leave both the official podcast and Red Thread. He wants to go on an indefinite hiatus to scale back his time spent on the internet. We obviously wish him the best, for everyone to respect his decision, and for all to know that the show will always be open for him to drop by and talk shop should he wish to return.
Sneako said some crazy stuff, Charlie said some crazy stuff, but Charlie is catching most of the heat because he usually doesn't say crazy stuff. I feel like that's a good way to, like, summarize it. Make sure you join the Discord, like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see next, and with that being said, it's love, hello, I love you, and I'm out.